Slytherin. And I'm looking for another coffee mug because my beautiful coffee mug happened to get destroyed. I dropped it, shattered into pieces. Talked about what the meaning behind that was. Crazy. Anywho, good morning to those on Facebook. Hi. I'm not going to see you, but you can totally follow me on Instagram if you want to go live and see the comments and stuff like that, or make a comment. I do apologize. I'm trying to stream as much places as possible, so that's why. But hello and good morning. Monday morning, right? Hopefully everybody's feeling good, refreshed, ready for a week. Wonder what everyone is up to. Super Bowl was yesterday, so I go to work and I work at a gym, and I only work one day a week. That's not my real job. That's just like my job so that I can actually communicate with people. Otherwise, I'd be at home all day by myself, right? Because of the way that things have changed since this whole pandemic and everything. Everybody's working from home, and I don't have conversations with anybody but maybe my niece sometimes and my mom. My nephew. So work one day a week, but it was completely dead. There was maybe like 4 people in our entire gym. Hello, Baram. Baram, you. How are you? And it was crazy, and it's like crazy how much the Super Bowl, right, is like. It's like I laugh because it's like it's. I'm good. I hope you're well. Yeah, I am. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's just crazy to me how nobody's showing up to the gym, right? And it's like a holiday for people. Of course, I'm not a follower of sports. I don't. To me, I'm like whatever. I have other things that I have to focus on. So don't. So, but if you guys watched it, hopefully you guys had a good time. I can say that people love the food for that particular event, and so I'm sure people were enjoying their nachos. I kept seeing nachos everywhere, and I was like, wow. If anything, that's what I wanted was nachos. um, so I see a shift in energy and sort of what's going on, and I'm not sure. Where are you, Baram? And are you being impacted by the pandemic? Hey, Doreen, good morning to you. And I'm kind of seeing that there's a shift now, and it felt really good. It's almost like I don't know, when this thing first started, right, and everybody was hidden. It was like there was no one. It almost felt like a ghost town where I lived, right? I'm not sure how you guys felt where you lived, but it was weird because it was like, where did everybody go? Like everybody was in their house. It was quiet. No one was on the streets. If you went, it had this eerie feeling, and it almost felt like it was a ghost town. Like there was no one there. Like no one lived there. No one was in their house. That's what it felt like. And then now it's interesting because people are out. There's actually sports being played. Like you see the kids running outside playing their football sports. That's what I saw yesterday. Parents out, everybody's starting to come out. And it's really just a different feeling, right? When you see this like spring of life in people and people are starting to come out. And it almost, for me, just made me appreciate. Good morning, PBG641 LMNOP. And sorry, I like to do those with those PBG 641. And it felt really different. The dynamics felt different. People coming out, people, and I don't know where it's at where you guys are, because I know there's people around the country, different places, and I don't know if things have opened up for you, or all the rules are different every single place, so it doesn't even make sense. But it was interesting to feel, right, that shift in energy of individuals and people starting to like almost like rise from their coffins, right? And they do talk about the resurrection and the rising of the dead. And the reality is, people will say, well, they'll look at the Bible, they'll look at all this stuff, and they think that people are literally going to rise from their coffins. The reality is, when we talk about this life and death idea, it's really about us resurfacing our soul over and over again. That's why the phoenix story is so big right now. You know, you see it everywhere. The rise of the phoenix. You're seeing phoenix stories all over the place. And those stories of the rise of the phoenix are about that death and rebirth. How do we die and rebirth ourselves over and over and over again? And that's really what we saw happen. So in that space where we were sort of in that death, right? It was almost like a death. If you saw, it felt like mourning. People were grieving. I mean, and I think people still are, right? There's still some of that residual that's happening. But when I went out, it was like reborn to life. It was a new feeling, a new energy, because everybody had been so, in their own space, hiding out for so long. And now people are starting to rebirth themselves into society. And we're starting to see this, people are starting to engage again. And we can keep this theme throughout our life, right? The theme of the phoenix, the rise and the dead, and rebirthing ourselves over and over and over again. So hopefully during this time, you were able to sort of step out of the conversation of the fear, right? I'm not saying that people didn't have fear, and that's perfectly fine, but hopefully you were able to get past the fear during that time or that period, so that you can start to rebirth yourself and really, really look at yourself and say, what is it within me that I can create, right? Something new that's going to arise. Can I deal with all of the spiritual and emotional issues that are showing up from this particular pandemic? And can then I overcome, right? Good morning, Mel. And use that energy and rise into something new. So hopefully that is what occurred for you. And you're going to start seeing that as things start to open up. It's almost like a blossoming, right, of a flower. It's almost like the spring, right? Because we are heading, well, where we live, we're heading into spring. And we're going to start seeing things bloom, and we're going to start seeing, these baby little flowers come out and say, hi, I'm here. I'm here to grace you with my beauty. They're like, wake up, come out wherever you are. That's what I think of as the Glinda, in the Wizard of Oz, when she's having them come out and they're wiping their eyes, and they're like these little, tiny little creatures coming out. And that's what it is. We're blooming, right? We're re-blooming. So hopefully, and you guys are willing to, if you're willing to share, please tell me what it is that you guys have created during this transition. Have you learned something new? Did you address the issues that may have showed up during this time out? Are you still dealing with them? Are you overcoming them? How are you dealing with them? Are you allowing yourself to engage with it? And are you allowing yourself to sort of go through the process so that you can rebirth yourself into the phoenix? I mean, that is the theme right now. Look, it's everywhere. It's purposeful, right? It's intentional. The writers, the script writers of all this stuff understand the esoterics and spiritual alchemy. The things that I teach, they understand it. They know it in and out. And that's how come they write these stories, because they understand what is happening at the macrocosm and the microcosm. And when we look at the macrocosm, which is this bigger connection to the web, right? The microcosm being us, the macrocosm being all of the stellar things that are happening, that they understand that we are rebirthing into a new era. It's allowing us to become the phoenix. And so the phoenix is this common theme within movies, within everybody's talking about the phoenix, right? It's everywhere. There was the dark phoenix, so they're looking at the shadow side of the phoenix. Now, what does that mean? It means that the divine feminine is re-waking up and rebirthing herself. The sacred feminine is now rising. And within the sacred feminine, because we've lived in such a patriarchal model, almost worldwide, it's not everywhere. There's still matriarchs happening around the world, but the patriarchy has overextended itself. In other words, it's too much extreme on one end. And now the pendulum's starting to swing the other direction. Here is the trick. The trick is balance, that we have not too much patriarchy, not too much matriarchy, but that we find that middle balance. And how do we do that? We find it within ourselves. And how do we find it within ourselves? We find it within ourselves by recognizing, going into that spiritual perspective and recognizing that we are the phoenix arising into something new. We're rebirthing ourselves into something new. So hopefully this whole entire process that we went through as an entire world, okay, you've got to think about this is worldwide. That's why it's a microcosmic thing. It's not just, oh, in the US or just in China or just in India, right, or Russia. You know, it's everywhere. Every single country, every continent, the entire world, planet that we know, right, except for probably the people that are still untouched, like these native tribes. I think there's still tribes, hopefully, that have not even been touched by society. And those tribes themselves have their own myth stories and understand that we are headed into a new era. It's everywhere. So the rise of the phoenix is us re-arising into the era of Aquarius, which Aquarius is the age of technology and information and all that stuff, and we can see it. We're in the era of technology. I'm streaming in 5 different places at this one moment in time. You can see me here, you can see me on Facebook, you can hear me on Podbean. This will get broadcasted out to different places. That's technology. We're in the era of technology. Hey, Kengo. So you got to understand that we're in the age of, and we have risen, and hopefully, my hope is, and the reason I was doing these a long time ago too, because I kept telling people, wake up, wake up, wake up, it's coming, wake up, is that you tapped into that essence of who you are. You dug a little bit deeper into the meaning, and that now you have re-arose as anew. It's the resurrection. That is the resurrection, right? People are like, I'm waiting in the sky for something to come get me. That's not how it's going to happen. And if it does, well, awesome. I'm ready. But you got to resurrect within yourself, right? The resurrection is saying, how do I recreate and rebirth my life in this new era? Okay, it's not, things aren't going to go back to the way they were. Things are going to look vastly different. They're going to continue to evolve. Why? Because things change. Things don't stay the same. We know this, right? This is part of, that's the constant. The only constant in this world is change. That's the one thing we know. Things don't stay the same. So they're not going to. And we're at this place where things are starting to change, and it's scary. It's scary for a lot of people. You know, I even had to go through my process, and I know this work in and out, and I practice it daily. Every single day of every single moment, I'm practicing alchemy, spiritual alchemy. And even in that, there was this sense of fear that overcame, right? That I was like, whoa, I don't know what's going to happen. It was this unknown, and I had to learn to surrender. So I too had to go through the process of understanding, where do I exist within this spiritual direction? What's going on for me? How can I tap into me and understand what is going on and what my place is in all this? And if you looked at the dialogue, that there was a lot of dialogue trying to hold on to the old, and it's just not going to be, and that's okay. It's good to wash it away so that we can recreate something new. So we're in a space of creating our foundations. I talked about that throughout this journey. Really setting our spiritual foundations, grounding ourselves with the pillars of what we will and will not compromise, setting our boundaries, right? Understanding who we are as an individual, being authentic with the stuff that comes up for us. So again, the whole process, this was in a way, when you think about it, is a beautiful process for everybody to really understand the power of spiritual alchemy as an entire world. Spiritual alchemy is it's nature. It is what it is, right? We want to change the outcome, and you can live in some sort of fantasy world, or you can say, I see what's real for me and know what's real for me, and I understand how to apply it, right, practically into your life. Because again, we are in a 3-dimensional time space. Now, is there a way out of it? Yeah, we can get deeper into those talks. But keeping it in the real 3-dimensional time space that we understand, we are in the resurrection. Okay? And that's what we see happening. As we transition into sort of what feels like a new normal for us, we're going to see the rise of that energy. So watch out for it. Be inspired by it. Be touched by it, because that's the rebirth. That's the resurrection. That's people coming out of their coffins. We've been, what, in our coffins for almost 9 months. It's almost like a baby, right? My friend brought that up to my attention. She's like, when you think about it, the birth and the, you know, the rebirth of a child, right? The death was like cut everything off, and then there was this grieving process, and then everybody incubated, and it's been a little over 9 months, but things were starting to open up after 9 months, and so now we're babies into this new era. It's like we've rebirthed into the new era. Okay. Good morning, apple of God's eye. Oh, that's cute. Good morning, Minnie. Apple of God's eye, like that. They look like two little apples. We got a green apple and a red apple. So again, we're rebirthing, and it's beautiful, right? It's beautiful that we're rebirthing back into, we're resurrecting into this new thing. So what have you rebirthed yourself into? When you were in incubation, what were you incubating? What were you focusing on? Right? We were seeding new ideas. It was an opportunity to seed new ways of thinking and engaging in the world, understanding the world, being in the world, understanding who we were, because it's still, and there's still the opportunity to remember who you are. It's not completely done, right? But everybody has a chance to resurrect. Everybody has a chance to tap into who they are. Good morning, Tanvir. To tap into who they are as a beautiful soul, and remember that you are, right, a child of God. You are a part of God. You're a part of all of it. It's not that someone's more special or more this or more that. No, it's who chooses to recognize it, who chooses to be with it, who chooses to practice it. And that's it. It's just a choice. And some will make the choice daily or monthly, or they'll just be like, well, I'll make the choice tomorrow, or whatever it is for them. But you still have a chance to remember who you are and rebirth yourself. There's still a little bit of time. I think we're going to be in timeout a little bit longer. I don't know. At least I know there's other places that are open here where I live. They're giving us, I think, more incubation time. That's what I had called the entire process. Like we're incubating, right, into this new thing. And as we incubate, that we focus on the things that we love so that we can resurrect into something new. That is the great resurrection. So just be with it, right? Think about it and ask yourself, am I resurrecting? Or am I still grieving the process? Right? There could be some grieving and some feeling of death or disconnect can still be there, that residual, as we've gone through the process. And if you see, and it's funny, I do these videos too because I'm human, right? We're all human. And I have my ideas and my opinions and stuff, but you can see that I go through the alchemic process through every part of it, from the beginning all the way till the end. And the beginning, I had my viewpoints about it. I had my ideas and I spoke about it. I communicated authentically. But does that mean that I stuck to the way that I thought about it from the beginning? No. It evolved over time. The way that I engaged it, because I had to go through a process just like you did. So you've gone through this process and you're probably continuing to go through the process. So my question to you is, are you being mindful of the process you're going through? Are you being mindful of the experiences you're having through this process? And if you're being mindful, what have you created to resurrect as we open up, right? As we start to crack out of our shells, or as we rise from the ashes as the phoenix? Have you risen in shadow, or have you risen in light? The shadow side of the phoenix is destructive, right? Complete destruction. I don't know if you guys have seen movies about it. They even have movies about it to explain what that means in alchemy. the rise of the phoenix, and when the phoenix is risen in the shadow, it devours everything that's in its path. It doesn't have a focus. It's not saying I'm trying to get you. It'll destroy anything and everything. The light side, right, of the phoenix is being the calm in the storm. Knowing that you can control the calmness within your heart while the storm is being devoured around you, and understanding that you can hold your place of peace while this storm starts to cloud around you. You become maybe the eye of the storm in some ways, where you see destruction but you can find refuge. Okay, shall I talk to you? Perhaps in a little bit. If I do let the viewers go on my Facebook Live and Instagram Live, then yes. I want them to be able to hear a conversation if somebody calls in. So, rise of the phoenix, resurrection into the new. We're resurrecting into the age of Aquarius. And hopefully this time that you've been given, because some people may not have saw it as a gift, but it was a timeout gift, right? To utilize that time that was given to resurrect. I meant to say here on podcasts. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. You mean like calling in on the podcast. Yes. And I stream live on Facebook and Instagram at the same exact time that I do the podcast. So people wouldn't be able to hear you, is what I'm saying. And I don't mind if I let them go and you're still on and you want to call in doing that. I've had two call-ins that were jokers. They were the tricksters. They didn't want to be called trolls. That called in, and perhaps one day a coaching session online, or just taking calls in. And so there you have it. I think I'm going to make these probably shorter and shorter daily, instead of like 30 minutes. I typically do about 30 minutes and then it's done. But I think I'm going to start doing maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then building my courses. The courses aren't really deep spiritual alchemic work, but they're going to be very like, how do I create more time for myself? We have the same 24 hours, but I can help people to create more time and space in their day, and understand how to do that, how to work with time. Time is a tricky thing for some people. How do we create more of it? Well, I can show you, right? And that's kind of what the course is. And it's very basic, but anyone can do it. It's practical. Remember, this is practical use of esoteric wisdom, not esoteric wisdom and then, ooh, it's a mystery and how do we do it? And we have to do all these. No, it's practical. Life is practical. People try to hide it to make it sound like it's this mystical hidden thing, but the reality is it's a practical process, and if you apply the process, it works. It's really, and it's simple but hard. It's simple in that the process sounds simple. It's hard in that you have to actually do it, and when you do it, it's not as easy as it sounds. Basically, it's how it works. But once you apply it and you get good at it and master it, becomes easy, right? That's the problem. Mastering the process. How do I master the process? Becomes your process, not mine, yours. Okay. So there you have it. So yeah, I mean, if you want to call in, I'll go ahead and let these people go. I'll wait and see if you guys are going to call in, but give me a minute so I can end it. So I'll say goodbye to those on the Instagram and on the Facebook. Love you guys so much. Whoever's on Facebook. Sorry I couldn't say good morning to you. Maybe Betty's on here. Maybe I'll just write a list of names and say good morning to those people, even if they don't show up. At least I'm saying good morning to them. So that energy's maybe out there anyway. All right, so have a great day. Those of you on Facebook and Instagram, I'll stay a little bit longer on Podbean if you do want to call in. Okay, I love you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.